Something important now in this segment, very important. In fact, I think it affects everybody. And with me on the line is Scott Ballin. Scott is an independent health policy consultant, but very important. He was a consultant on tobacco and health issues to the American Heart Association. So we're going to talk a little bit about if there are people out there that are still smoking, and I doubt that there's a whole lot left, and I'm hoping I'm right. Pay very close attention. Scott, you're on the air with us. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, pleasure.
Listen, I read that 1 out of 5 Americans still smoke after all the publicity and so on. How true is that, do you think?
That is an accurate statement, and that's a real concern. The number of deaths that are caused each year from smoking are 480,000 each year.
Wow.
That's the single most preventable cause of death in our country. You know, we've been working on this issue for a long time, and we made a lot of progress, but we sure haven't made enough. And I think part of the problem is we're not focusing enough on the adult smoker and giving them some choices. A lot of them try to quit cold turkey. They fail. A lot of them have tried the patches and gums. That's about a 5 to 6% success rate. But, over the last 5-10 years, there's been a development of some new products, science-based products, that need to be regulated, but may provide some alternatives to all these addicted smokers who we want to help quit.
There's so many people out there that are listening and they're saying, I do know someone, and I've never understood. I've never smoked in my life, and I'm very happy about that. But I know people that do. Sometimes I don't understand it because they're $10 a pack now. It's like you're burning money, which is what you're doing. And unless you're really, really rich, none of us could afford to do that. But that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is what you're doing to yourself. Why don't people get it? Are we really talking about an addiction where you can't stop?
Well, yeah, we are talking about addiction. And there was an English researcher who made the comment, people smoke for the nicotine, but they die from the tar. In today's age, we have a better way to provide the nicotine to people, much cleaner, much safer, 90 to 95% lower than in risk than the deadly cigarette. And it's interesting when I talk to smokers and others in the public, many of them educated, they don't recognize the difference. We still think that all tobacco products carry the same risk, and that's not true. Now we've got e-cigarettes out there, and we're not sure what to do with them and how to use them. They need to be regulated, yes, but there's a growing consensus among a lot of people that this may provide another alternative for addicted smokers to wean off cigarettes. So, and there's also a lot of non-combustible products that have been around. There are dissolvable products. There are products like snus, which is a Swedish product. And those are products that are very low in toxins because of the technology advances. But we're not getting the message out that these are alternatives that people should be looking at. And I think the FDA and the public health community needs to make sure these messages and truthful information is reaching, these millions of still smoking addictive individuals.
The concept of e-cigarettes. Now, is there a vape? See, I don't know because I've never been in this situation. So, Scott, I'm going to rely on you and my friends who are smokers. The concept of an e-cig, for the most part, that's vapor. Are they smoking vapor? What are they smoking? What is it?
Yeah, the vapor is delivered through, the nicotine is delivered through a vapor rather than smoke. When you light a cigarette on fire, there are 3,000 chemicals produced in the smoke. You can eliminate a huge amount of those. Now, that doesn't mean that vaping is totally safe, but the evidence is that these products do offer a significant reduction in risk, and we need to be pushing that. But we don't want to we do want to have some oversight regulation on these products because things can be put into them and taken out. There's a big debate about the use of flavors in these products. And I think we need to sort this out as we go, but we should not be throwing the baby out with the bathwater and saying e-cigarettes should be banned. As long as, in particular, we've got these deadly cigarettes out there that people are continuing to puff away on. That's the culprit. And I think we need to develop some new strategies and new ideas to help these addicted smokers get off the deadly product and wean themselves even to completely stop smoking anything. As I said, the patches and gums for many people don't work, and the attempts to go cold turkey don't work. And now we have new technologies and innovations and products on the market that we need to take a look at and hope that they can be part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Now, is it just, now you had mentioned just earlier that nicotine is the addictive factor. That if you apply that and go to somebody who, and we'll call them an addict, even though they're a regular smoker. We don't think of them as addicts. We think of that in another context. If you merely gave them that in a safe form, why wouldn't they stop smoking?
Yeah, they will. If you give it, but it's got to be consumer acceptable too. You know, there's a ritual associated with smoking. That's why a lot of people think that the e-cigarettes may provide that option, because you pick it up in your hands and you're puffing on it. But it is a cleaner delivery system. What we need to be doing is giving people options, and not saying there's one solution fits all. I mean, the efforts to try to get the gums and the patches to solve the problem, everybody thought that was going to be great, but a lot of smokers just don't like them, and it's not successful. We've got to give them something that's acceptable, that they can use and feel comfortable using as they try to, rid themselves of this highly addicted problem. As I said, the nicotine has some fallbacks, of course, with everything in society. We look at our foods with fat and cholesterol and salt, and also caffeine. Caffeine's in a lot of different things, and but what we're trying to do is clean up the tobacco and nicotine arena by giving people these lower risk options and letting them still have their nicotine, which they still crave and will need after they try to stop smoking.
So, but the e-cigarette, for the most part, the ritual is there. The holding in the hand, the putting to the mouth, the smoke. So I would think that would be probably the way in which to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish here.
Yes, absolutely. For some of the people out there, that is the way. That there are different types of products. There are products that some of those larger-looking things that people suck on and vape on, but there are things that also look like cigarettes, and there are other products that don't have the vaping part of it. It's a tobacco-heated thing. They're heat-not-burn products, so they don't produce the toxins, but it also gives some of these smokers who still want that tobacco taste. This is not a simple, easy solution to everything, but the technology and innovation is out there, and we need to take advantage of it. We're losing 480,000 American lives.
I was just going to bring that number out again, the 480,000 number again. I mean,
and we're also, it's costing billions in dollars in lost healthcare costs because we have to pay for this somehow. And I think for a lot of us who have been in Washington a long time, this is really a win-win for Republicans and Democrats. We want to reduce healthcare costs. We want to protect our citizens, but at the same time, we don't want to ban things outright, but we want to give them the options to choose and to be educated about trying to get off the deadly cigarette.
So what's the holdup? I mean, it seems like we're in the second decade of the 21st century, excuse me, and yet there's no clear path here. I mean, this is 480,000 people is a lot of people. I mean, I don't know of any other.
It's obvious, but I think that what has happened is there are a lot of people who feel that we should ban all tobacco products and get rid of nicotine. And so there's that extreme group on that side. There are a lot of others who say we shouldn't do anything and just let the system go. But there are a lot of us in the middle who are looking for solutions that are going to actually do something that will advance our public health agenda.
Are our young people less apt to start smoking like they did in, let's say, in the 60s and 70s? Again, when I point to that number, 1 out of every 5 are still smokers in this country. That used to be a lot worse than that, from my understanding. That we are making headway.
Yeah, I said that, I think, at the beginning. We've made some progress, but we need to make more. And I think that I don't know of anybody, quite frankly, who thinks that it's okay for children and adolescents to smoke. Maybe we do need to do better things in that area. But what I'm also talking about today is the addicted adult smoker. But, kids, there's a concern on some people's part that e-cigarettes may lead to smoking if adolescents start trying it. In my view, we need to build into the system better controls over the sale and distribution and initiation of these products to young adolescents. And it's just not the tobacco products. I mean, we've got alcohol problems, we've got drug problems that we need to deal with. So, we need to learn from each other, and we need to learn how to keep these kids from initiating smoking, but at the same time looking to the adult smoker who needs our assistance.
And I'll tell you, there's a lot out there. We all know them, and again, I know people that smoke a pack, 2 packs a day, and I find that in this day and age to try to get some help. So can we conclude that there needs to be more out there for people to choose from, remedies to help them get away, and that there is not enough government support or community support to put those things out there?
Yeah, that's the part of my message here today, and it's also giving adult smokers not only the products but also the tools by being able to go to a smoking cessation clinic, dealing with their physicians and doctors about the best ways to quit, and also having a discussion about these alternative products. So we're sort of made this progress. We're also sort of at a new beginning. For creating some new ideas that will get us to where we want to go.
Yeah. Chewing tobacco, cigars. I've heard people say, I smoke cigars, and they're not as bad as cigarettes. I don't know. Explain that to me.
Well, it depends on the cigars and your habit. If you smoke 1 cigar a day and you don't inhale, and a lot of people who smoke cigars do not inhale, so that a lot of that stuff isn't going into the lungs. It's a different ritual in many respects, but the burning of the tobacco is just as bad. And if you were to smoke it like a cigarette, you're going to get all the same toxins into your lungs.
Okay.
And so maybe we need some better education programs on the issues related to cigars. The spit tobacco, smokeless tobacco industry has changed dramatically. It's that big, disgusting stuff that people used to chew on and spit. The new products out there that are very low in risk, come in little packets that you put in your mouth to get your nicotine, and when you finish with it, you just throw it in the trash can. It's none of that disgusting stuff, and it's a different form, and the technology that's been used to develop it, has brought us to a new level.
Do you blame this problem that we still have in this country, and I'll go along with that, it's not as bad as it once was, to the fact that if you went back to the 1950s, I believe, the U.S. Surgeon General said that smoking is not harmful, and then, of course, people would just do it, and it was something that was accepted. And you think that's still endemic in our culture?
I don't think so. I think that's gone, and I think people recognize the dangers of the use of tobacco. But I think what complicates it is that a lot of people say there are a lot of other things that are dangerous out there. Why should I worry about this one and not something else? I mean, as I said, alcohol and drug abuse, opiates now, and I mean, just a whole series of things that are in the minds of some people far more important from a public health standpoint. But as I keep reminding people, we're killing 480,000 people every year because of cigarette smoking, single most preventable cause of death, and we can do better than what we're doing.
And I think these type of programs, which you're presenting right now, is a key component to really letting people know. $10 a pack, which it is here in New York, that's still that. To me, that if you smoke a pack a day and you're spending $10 a day, that's a car payment.
Oh, absolutely. It adds up quickly, and the other thing that people have also talked about is, in an effort to try to get these other products to them, these significantly low-risk products, tax differentiate them. Tax the hell out of cigarettes, and make sure you don't tax some of these other things that actually could help people. But everybody wants revenue, so they feel they should tax everything. But, that's another strategy that needs to be considered.
Again, I want to thank you for the work that you've done, again, working with the American Heart Association. As far as I'm concerned, people like yourself who are out there and at least putting their message out there, you're reaching some people. And, I believe that's a good thing. And maybe if we could turn a few people around, even from this broadcast, who might think twice and say, maybe I ought to try it again. Because people say, I can give up smoking any time. And for some reason, they just don't. I mean, for whatever reason.
Well, I appreciate you asking me to be on. It's been very enjoyable. And as you said, I hope we can get a message out there to people.
Absolutely. Scott Ballin, independent health policy consultant. Scott, thank you very much, and good luck in your endeavors.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Important issue. How many of us out there know that know friends and family members or ourselves? I mean, there are people out there that are listening that are smoking a cigarette right now, I guess. And every once in a while, How about this? Every once in a while, we need to be reminded and see what it takes. A few minutes left, 631-451-1039. Anybody have a smoking story? I'd be really interested to see if anybody has been successful at doing that. You very rarely hear of people that are successful in quitting. Although you do hear, I shouldn't say you very rarely hear, but there's more people that say they gave it up, but then you see them 6 months later, and they went right back to it.